Okay, greetings. Yep, Rich here of Classic Games Redefined, and we're looking at a game I created. There's a series of 32 games called the Games on a Half a Checkerboard Series. Pretty much the origins of this was that I've designed various abstract strategy games, and then I decided I would adapt them to Stonehenge. And when I adapted to Stonehenge, I said, this is great. What am I going to do with it? Let me promote it, and I end up starting the International Abstract Games Organization. Well, I'm not involved with them anymore, and I don't know what they're doing, actually. It's a nonprofit corporation. Anyhow, what does this got to do with J? Well, J is one of the games that I came up with. Well, I originally, before, was adapting stuff to have a checkerboard game. I wanted to do a connection game on, excuse me, I was adapting it to Stonehenge, which is by Paizo Publishing. And I wanted to come up with a game involving half a adapted the Byzantine chessboard, which looked like to have had a half checkerboard. So one of the ideas I had was I want to do a connection game on that. It didn't go across. I eventually came up with something later, but it didn't work. And then I decided I was going to do one of the things I did was let me do a connection game. Connection game involves connecting points together. And that's how J came about. Well, the thing while I'm working on this design here was I realized how easy it was to block a person by putting lines in the way it's set up. So it wasn't originally intended to have a losing connection, but it ended up going that way. And that's what we have here. By the way, these are ghost stones which you use to mark the edge of the board of what you're going to connect. And as far as I know, there aren't any other games that are connection games that do this. I violate a lot of principles of connection games in coming up with J, but let's show you how you do it. Object of the game, if you see the dots, is to actually form a line of pieces that the player's white wants to connect a line, connected vertically, horizontally, not diagonal, it doesn't count, to this side to here, or this side to here. So you could do a line, or you could do a series of pieces going over like this. Whatever. This part of the board down there, black does the same way. And you want to do it without connecting. For example, we'll do it here. And this is an update. Originally, it was just, I'll show you what I had here. Originally, you had it that you didn't want to connect the sides of the board like this. You did not want to connect this here like this. And black didn't want to connect that way because that was a loss, even if the pieces like white were all the way down there. Well, what we did was we made a slight change. So even if, for example, you're like this, that's now a loss. And even if you were to connect, let's say this here like this, and the white pieces here like this, it would still be a loss. And let me pick that up and move that. So anyhow, that's a loss. Even though you're connecting this to that, it's a loss. The Misere connection overrides. And that just came across. Here's a design principle you look at. What you can do is if something looks like it's so overwhelmingly, so much will overwhelm a game, a position, very easily, make it a lose condition, and you can deter players from doing it and actually add a level. This game was actually the first game I got published in Games Magazine. I did 3 other ones. Games is now the World of Game and Puzzle and are doing it. So anyhow, remember, see the connection? We connect this way like this and like that way without connecting the sides of the board. And it's not just these colors now, but it's that. You can play it that way, and that's the way it got it published in games. I discovered it was a little bit out of balance and tended to favor the first player a bit more, at least from a momentum perspective. But by doing this, it balanced it more. Well, there's 2 parts to the way pieces move. And either of these you can determine to win. What you're going to do is you're going to be sliding pieces, kind of like the way the GIF works. If you see these points, they also represent entry points. So if you have a corner here, a piece can slide in from here or here, there. It slides in. Okay. If there's a piece on the space, let's put this here just to show it. either color. Let's say white's here. All the pieces would end up sliding down that way. See how it entered the board? And we'll do this and drag it back. And if I were to do it this way, enter this right here, like that, we would slide it this way. They all move up and slide. And we'll back at it again. So we'll go like this, and let's say we had a piece here like this. This is the first one. There's another move, and then let's say we have this here. You would slide off them, so you could pick these up, and they can move over. And remember, this here pushes those two. Would not push this piece. The whole entire thing doesn't move, just these. So you could pick up and move over, and bam, like that. Another thing that happens with the sliding is, let's just alternate and put pieces on the board like this here. By the way, I don't have strategies. This game is fairly unique. And let's put a white piece down. Never mind the colors. I can't guarantee we have it correct. We have 4. Okay, we had, let's say, black one first. And I try to enter this way. It's jammed. I can't enter that way. Or if these pieces were here, see how that is? This is one of the things Tabletop Simulator works well. You pick up all the pieces, you can move them together. You couldn't go that way. I could still slide these here. Let's put this in here like this. And then highlight all these pieces. And it pushes them all. Okay, you see how that works. I'm just going to throw some pieces in here. So, I'll go like that. Plus, just to let you know, the board can also, you're trying to push from the 2 space going in. And it's jammed. The same thing with this is jammed that way. Well, one thing, let's go back here. Let's say we have this as a configuration. Another thing we're looking at is, give me 1 second, I just want to check on something. Okay, good. Checking on that. Another thing we're looking at here, that was the first move. That's mandatory. So, remember what I said about winning the game? Another way you can win the game here is if you force your opponent not to have any pieces. By keep dropping pieces outside, eventually I could run out. So, let's say pardon me, I'm not tracking the order. If black was supposed to go, that's fine. Let's say white goes there. Now, white has the option, and I'll put a few more pieces out. Let's say for some reason we had this like this here, in that there. So white does, and then you see the pieces, the spaces here, these 10. I think they're 10. No, it's 12. These spaces that don't have a dot bordering to them. When I do that, I can choose to recover one of my pieces and put it back in my reserve off the board. That then allowed to free up stuff. So let's say then white did that and put a piece down and black goes. Okay, I believe, let's say he's there. Pardon me. Black then could enter a piece in here in a slider push. Or then black could also have gone over here, for example, just dropped in, or either of these ways. Or could have entered here. And let's say black does this. Okay. And we'll do that. So you push, you slide, either enter an empty, or you push the line of pieces. So that's one of the things we had here with black doing it. That let's say white entered. Remember, you're pushing as far as you can go. And you would then pick up all the pieces. Remember, he slides it in like that, and they drop. And then after that, that's mandatory. And then optional, you can pull one of your pieces from the reserve to do that. That's pretty much how to play J. Remember, those are the 2 parts of placement and then retrieving from the middle 6 spaces here. Let me just move all the pieces in here. And we'll just, hopefully, you can get off here. Yeah, we just have enough. I think I'm going to put one more. I'm just putting pieces. This is where the pieces come across. And you remove your own, not an opponent's piece. So where these checker pieces are currently, that's where you would remove from these squares, not the stuff on the outside. So they would enter here. They enter here. and then you retrieve here until somebody connects one side of the board like this here, or you forces their opponent to connect the side of the boards. If you want to play with some a little bit balanced, it's their color on the side. But it's just any of these, column 3, column 4, column 2, or zigzagging over. Like, let me show you another loss just to remind you. This is a loss condition. That's a loss condition. We'll move these over here. And we pick up a bunch. We'll drop them in. That's a loss condition also. And even if by, let's say, for example, let's say we have a move here like this. And for some reason, let's move them like this here. And we'll push this here. Never mind the colors. I'm just showing the formation here. Normally, there'd be more colors on board. And even if I were to get a win condition, remember connecting that as a side, and I take these, and these all push forward like that, and drop in and connect. So even though they connect, that's a win. That's a loss for black. So here's a nasty little trick you can do. Actually, whatever. Never mind. Yeah, one thing you could do is by lining it up is, let's say, for example, he's like this. And we're going to move this over. We'll move this here like this. And let's take this out. So here's one of the things that you could have happening, for example. And let's say we're going to pull this off. Here's one of the little tricks you can do. Because remember, this is a connection game where you can connect to cause lose. So what I can do here is I will enter this piece from 5, and we will, well, let me highlight. We circle everything like this. It goes forward 1. Actually, bear with me. I grabbed too many pieces here. So what I'm going to do here is we'll have this here like this. So my mistake. Ignore what you did this. So we'll show you one of the things that white could do. And could do that, and see the connection there? White pushed it in, causing black to lose. The thing, because this is a Misere game, if, let's say, for example, you simultaneously cause yourself and your opponent to lose, you also lose, because that's the priority. And we do it that way. Just give me 1 second. I'll double check the rules. I believe that's right. Yes, I've created over 100 games, so what it was is that your losing supersedes everything else. That's why it was. So the losing will override every other condition. Point like this here. Even if it's causing an opponent to get it, if you do a losing configuration, you lose. So again, it's the connecting that way versus the line this way. So I've rambled enough here. So that's it. We're going to do a lot more as time goes on. I'm going to go through every single one of my games in the Game and a Half Checkerboard Series if I can here. So anyhow, okay, that's it. I do want to thank you for watching, and may your die always roll 5.